Tua Tagovailoa. It starts. Yesterday, he met with the media. We got a little tidbits of information. Also, some other things I want to talk about when it comes to the hierarchy of the Miami Dolphins. So let's jump into this. What is up, Finn fans? Yesterday, the Miami Dolphins, Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa met with the media. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, changing a little bit of the schedule because today I normally put the film breakdown out, and I'm going to do a little different because it seems very likely, and again, I will be utterly shocked if Tua does not play Sunday against the Arizona Cardinals. So you're going to get your film breakdown tomorrow. And in that film breakdown tomorrow, I'm going to show passes from Tyler Huntley and all these other guys and kind of show you, will the offense be better with Tua out there, and kind of show the difference between the passes that Tua can make and the passes that these guys have thrown, and see if our offense will be better. So I'm going to do that whole film breakdown for tomorrow. It's going to take me a minute because I'm going to go through Tua film, and I'm not going far into Tua film. I'm not going to, the beginning of 2023 Tua film, even though beating bad teams, losing to bad teams, it's still bad teams. I'm going to go more recent, even if I can find the same passes against the Jaguars, to kind of reiterate that, will this team be better with Tua at the helm? But today we're talking Tua, we're talking McDaniel, and also I want to talk about something else. Now, Marcel Louis-Jacques on Sunday came out with this tweet that I found very interesting. And he said, let me just clean this up for you so I can make it bigger so you guys can read it. He said, Stephen Ross, Tom Garfinkel, and Chris Grier leaving the Dolphins coach's locker room. Don't remember seeing Ross in New England or Seattle, but that's not to say they weren't there. And there might be a situation where Stephen Ross makes a move in season. When, where, how, who, all that stuff, I don't know. I'm not going to speculate. But you cannot say and not see what this team is putting out there and see what they've put out there the past 2 years on offense, and Stephen Ross sit back and be like, okay, sure, this is cool. I'm gonna leave it status quo. So it might get to the point where if the Dolphins don't win more games, because they've won 2, beat the Jaguars, beat the Patriots, but we have the Cardinals coming up, we have Buffalo, then we have the Rams, we have the Raiders, and we have the Patriots. Those are winnable games, especially if Tua comes back and the offense, goes back to the way it was, where we beat up on bad defenses. We're going to be facing bad defenses. Cardinals, bad defense. Rams, bad defense. Raiders, bad defense. Patriots, bad defense. You should win 4 of the next 5 games if our offense shows anything like it did last year, where you beat up on bad defenses. So we'll see if they continue to falter and continue to fall flat on their face, if a change is made, especially with, yesterday I showed you guys Garfinkel on the sideline talking to Chris Grier, and it looked like they were talking about something somewhat animated. So maybe there's a change coming down the line if things don't turn around quicker, because now that Tua is healthy, and like I said, most likely, and again, I will be shocked if he doesn't play Sunday against the Cardinals and they continue to stay in that stagnant 10-point a game, horrible offense, whereas the defense is still doing their thing, and they keep losing, changes will be made, because now there's no excuse. With Tua back, they can't use the excuse of, we don't have our starting quarterback, and they as in Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel. So we will see. But the other thing, and the thing we're going to talk about, obviously, from the title, is Tua Tagovailoa. And Mike McDaniel met with the media yesterday, and he said that the plan is to have Tua practiced Wednesday. The hopes is he clears concussion protocol. And that is something I find incredibly interesting, because again, he says the hope is it clears concussion protocol. And if you guys remember, I showed you the concussion protocol and kind of how it works. So stage 1 is symptom limited activity. The player is prescribed rest, limiting, if necessary, avoiding activities, both physical and cognitive, which increases or aggravates symptoms under athletic training supervision, yada, yada. He's out of phase 1. He had no symptoms the next day. Aerobic exercises, phase 2, under direct oversight of the team's medical staff, the player should begin graduated cardiovascular exercise, may also engage in dynamic stretching, balancing, training, neurocognitive and balance testing, yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. And then you got phase 3, the player continues with supervised cardiovascular exercise that are increased and may mimic sports-specific activities, and supervised strength training is introduced. The player is allowed to practice with the team in sports-specific exercises for 30 minutes or less with ongoing caring, monitoring. And then we have, let me move myself. We have number 4 right here. The player continues cardiovascular strength and balance training, team-based sport-specific exercises, and participates in non-contact football activities, i.e. throw, catching, running, yada, yada. The tests keep going. Tua Tagovailoa is in stage 4. But Doug, how do you know Tua's in stage 4? How do you know that? What tells you that? Because again, non-contact football activities, example, throwing, catching, running, and other position-specific activities, right? How do you know that he is in those situations? Well, Tua Tagovailoa himself said he's been throwing for a month, including some to Odell. He's staying in shape, prepping weekly as if he's playing. Tua said he remembers the play and hit that caused the concussion, plans to be smarter with his decision-making. We'll go more into his presser when I read everything. But the biggest thing is right here. Tua said he's been throwing for a month, including some to Odell. So again, if we go back to this Mama Jam, club-based non-contact training drills, throwing, catching, running, and other position-specific activities. He's in stage 4. So with Mike McDaniel coming out saying, hoping he clears concussion protocol, he just has to go through stage 5, appearing clearance by the club's physician for full football activities involving contact. The player must be examined by the independent neurologist consultant assigned by the club. If the INC concurs that the club physician that the player's concussion has resolved, he may participate in club's next program game. So again, he is literally in stage 4. Now the next step is for him to get cleared by the team's doctors. Hopefully that happens Wednesday. Then he meets with the UNC, and then he's cleared to play on Sunday. So I will be shocked, especially because he traveled with the team to Seattle, to New England, and recently to Indy. You don't travel with the team in concussion protocol. So if he does not play on Sunday, it is McDaniel holding him out. It has nothing to do with concussion protocol. It has nothing to do with the NFL's concussion protocol. It has everything to do with Mike McDaniel. So we'll see. He will practice tomorrow. So we will see. But this is what Tua said. He had his presser. He said, as he prepares to return after missing 4 games following a concussion, Dolphins quarterback Tua Tagovailoa said Monday that he will bypass wearing a Guardian cap that is thought to reduce the risk of concussion for a personal choice. The Guardian cap created it's that big old dome looking one. Tua added, I've got to be smart, stay more available for the team and my guys. 100%. You know you're susceptible to concussions, being the fact that in your football career, going back to college, you've had 3 concussions. Need to slide. If you're going to run, you can run, slide. If there is a defender an iota away from you, minimum 5 yards, you better slide. What Tua says to people who are concerned about his health after sustaining what was his 4th documented concussion of his life, again, he had one in college, on September 12th against Buffalo, and likely the 5th concussion overall. I appreciate your concern. I love this game. I love it to the death of me. Whoa. Shouldn't be. Let's not go that far, my man. Let's not go that far. We all love football, especially if you've played it. but to the death of you, this is a little too far. Tua was eligible to practice this week after 4 games on injured reserve, yada, yada. Tua also addressed other issues. Tua said he has never had any symptoms since the September 12th concussions. He says he recalls most of everything about the hit and what happened after the game, except a few spotty areas while he was leaving the field. When I had a grade 3 concussion, I don't remember. So I got a grade 3. It's not football related. I got a grade 3 concussion, snow tubing. So essentially, I went down this hill in my tube. I got up, turned around to pick up my snow tube. This girl came behind me, hit my legs. Boom. I went back and smacked my head on the ground. What I remember is going down the hill, waking up on the ground. I don't remember getting up, turning around, grabbing my tube, getting knocked out. Boom. So grade 3 concussion. I don't remember big chunk, just going down the hill and then boom, waking up on the ground. That's all I remember. So for him to say it was kind of spotty, but he does remember bits and pieces, it's a concussion. He said there was no discussion of retiring, and he never received any advice to retire, at least advice that he's concerned. Had some conversations with his wife, he said. He also said doctors told him he continue his career and none advised him to retire. So he's not retiring, and we all know he's not retiring because that's been something we've talked about for a while. He said the doctor did tell him the long risk of having a lot of concussions. There are a gray area when it comes to that regarding if you know you're going to have long-term diseases or are not. This game is what makes me happy, and I'm going to do it, and that's it. If you watch the video of the press conference, he was very annoyed. And I will talk about that after we go over all of it. But you can even see from that little quote right there, right? The game is what makes me happy and I'm going to do it. That's it. Like, he was very annoyed, and I'll get into why. Would Tua ever object a doctor's recommendation for him to sit out for an extended period of time for any other future concussions? It's based off of whatever the individual feels, he said. If you feel you can go, you can go. This is only becoming a thing because of what happened 2 years ago when he seemed to sustain 2 concussions in 5 days. That is a big thing right there. And that to me is why he is a little peeved. He's a little annoyed. He's a little pissed off. It's based on whatever the individual feels. And if you feel you can go, you can go. This is only becoming a thing because of what happened 2 years ago. His concussion against the Cincinnati Bengals live on national TV, where he had a horrible fencing hand motion and was knocked out. Multiple neurologists have told Miami Herald that Tua would be advised to sit out an extended period of time after future concussions. We don't look at hockey players and boxers the same way, and it's because more of an issue here in the league. So again, he's a little peed off because he doesn't feel like he should have been on IR, and he doesn't feel like he should have missed 4 games. And he probably is sitting back and thinking, I could have helped them beat Indy yesterday. I could have helped them beat Tennessee, and I most likely could have helped them beat Seattle. Worst case scenario, we would be sitting at 5-2 right now. And he's probably sitting back like, you guys should not have put me on IR. I should have missed Seattle, and I should have played for the Tennessee Titan game, and we would have won the next 3 and been 5-2. And that's probably why he's mad, because he didn't have any symptoms the next day. He went to Disneyland the next day. And then it probably also pissed him off a little bit more because, listen, we put you on IR because you had a concussion symptoms. Look, we're going to take you and we're going to be very safe with you. But hey, you want to come to Seattle with us? You want to come to New England? Hey, you want to come to Indy? You don't do those things on a concussion. You don't travel. You don't go on planes when you have a concussion or in concussion protocol in the NFL. But the Dolphins brought him along. So he probably, if you saw him on the sideline, he was not happy. Tua, dealing with multiple concussions in his life, said, I'm frustrated, but it is what it is. Do I want to be known for this? No, but this is the cards I've been dealt. 100%. It's, again, do the Dolphins want to be known for being a soft finesse team? No, but that's what they're putting out on the field. Do the Dolphins want to be known for not beating good teams and beating bad teams? No, but that's what they're doing. Do the Dolphins want to be known for not being able to play in the cold weather? No, but that's what they put out there. Now, Tua, this is your 4th concussion, possibly 5th. We don't know about that Buffalo one. It's who you are now. It is what it is. He said, I don't put any pressure on myself to save the team. And that's where a lot of us are doing, right? because, and I'm about to do a film breakdown tomorrow to show you the difference between the quarterbacks we've had and what Tua can do and how he could, like, is the offense going to be better under him? Because he's not, I hope he doesn't put pressure on himself to save the team, because if he puts pressure on himself, that's where he makes those mistakes where I need to get this first down, or I need to do this and I need to do that. He plays hero ball, he hurts himself. Just play, do you, and beat up on the bad teams, because we have bad teams coming up. And then when we get to Green Bay, we'll assess where we're at. But I'm glad he doesn't put pressure on himself. The Dolphins make a mistake putting him on IR, sidelining him for 5 games. This is what he had to say. He said, "What I know is the team did what is best interest of me. Given what the doctors have told me, having a substantial amount of time to rest and recovering, they did what was best, protecting myself from myself." That's not what he wanted to say. That's not what he wanted to say. Because you know what? He said it in the paragraph before when they asked him, would Tua ever object a doctor's recommendation for him to sit out for an extended period of time for any future concussions. He literally said, this is only because of a thing that, because of what happened 2 years ago. And it implies here with him being on IR, he's saying a very PR answer, but 100%, the only reason they put him on IR is because of what happened against the Cincinnati Bengals and a second concussion against Green Bay Packers. If he never had that bad concussion against the Bengals and he just had that concussion where you didn't notice it against Green Bay, he would not have been put on IR for this one. He would have missed the Seattle game, and then he would have played the Titans game. He would have went through concussion protocol. He would have came out of the back end of it, and he would have played. He said he's been throwing for several weeks and has thrown 2 passes to Odell, among others. And like I said, and like I showed you, he's already in phase 4 of the concussion protocol. How much risk is he taking by continuing to play? He says, how much risk do we take when we get up in the morning and drive to work? You can get into a car accident. There's risk in everything. Every time we all suit up, we are all taking a risk. We could potentially get hurt. I'm willing to play the odds. That's it. He's not wrong. He's not wrong, but also you got to protect yourself a little bit better. Because again, he's not wrong in the way he feels, but also don't do that again. Like, protect yourself. And Mike McDaniel said it. I'm trying to look and find the quote, because Mike McDaniel kind of said it. McDaniel said Tua would return with an added jolt. McDaniel said Tua's return will add a jolt to the team as their leader is back, but McDaniel told the team today he's not the savior either to fix all their issues. Miami's offense has been last in points, yada, yada. There was another quote regarding the quarterback play for the past 4 games. McDaniel said there were a lot of times the overall play was not good enough, and teams could have executed better. Here you go. This is the one I wanted you to read. Because again, this is the whole, Tua's coming back. He's going to save the season. He doesn't want to be the savior. He's making a point. McDaniel's making a point. But also this quote I thought was interesting. In the first game back from his concussion protocol in 2022, Tua lowered his shoulder and initiated contact to finish a run. He apologizes to McDaniel after saying, I needed that one. This time around, McDaniel said to Tua to protect himself, you don't need this one, which I think is interesting because, again, he needed that one in the aspect that, I get the first hit out. Okay, I'm not going to be concussed. I'm feeling good, yada, yada. Let's go. Let's continue with this. Where now you don't need to do that, man. Like, you're just play smart. And now all of us Dolphin fans are going to be sitting back, and every time Tua drops back and Tua does this and Tua does that, we're going to take a deep breath and hope and pray to God that he doesn't get hurt again. But if he gets hurt again, that's it. There's no coming back from that. And if with him back, like I said in the beginning of this video, and with him back, the team still can't turn it around and the offense is still scoring 10 points and it's not a Tua thing and it's not a quarterback thing, it's a McDaniel thing, there's going to be changes. I will guarantee it. There'll be changes at the GMs. I honestly think, and I've said this for weeks, I've said this since the Titans game, What I would do is I'd fire Greer, bring in my own GM, whether in-house, whether out-of-house, whatever, bring in my own GM and let the GM sit and watch McDaniel for a year and decide, is this guy going to learn from his mistakes, or do I need to bring in someone like a variable or someone more assessed to the situation? Because also this new GM that's coming in is going to have to maneuver some pieces. And that's something we'll talk about at the end of the year. But the Dolphins can cut, I did it in Over the Cap, the Dolphins can cut Armstead and Chubb and save like $30 million in cap space, and then the cap space will be going up next year. So they're fine when it comes to the cap space. I know everyone sees like, oh, we only got $4 million. Oh my God, what are we going to do? The cap is going to go up. So think of, we technically will probably have about 34 to 39 million in cap space, because it went up 30 million last year. It's going to go up more with the Netflix. And then Armstead, if he retires, we get a big chunk of money back, like 20 million. And then Chubb, what happens with him? That's the other thing. Chubb's going to come back hopefully soon. So will that help us? There's a lot to go on, and I will talk about it on the midseason review. But overall, Tua's going to be practicing this week. Tua should be playing against the Arizona Cardinals. Will it fix the season? Will he fix the offense? We will find out. But comment below. Let me know what you think of everything I said. I know people who don't like Tua think it don't matter. Tua sucks. You have a right to have that opinion. And I'll see you guys tomorrow with the film breakdown, looking at passes that were missed Sunday, and can Tua make those throws and fix it. But like usual, stay classy. My fins up.